Hey everybody, welcome back to the Center Lane, the political discussion for those of us who want to find commonality, common ground amongst our political leaders. You know, compromise is not a four-letter word. It's a good thing, okay? So very good. Today I thought I'd talk about a couple things. First off, the third party thing, I think, we keep talking about we only have two choices, but maybe this year this could actually be something different. I'm getting more and more interested in the thought of somebody else rising up above Biden and Trump, or at least being competitive. If that, I already talked a little bit about Dean Phillips challenging Biden for the Democratic nomination, but it seems like that's going to be a long shot. I like him. Can he get enough traction? Most people don't know who he is, and name recognition. Not everybody's following politics like people like you and I probably are. A lot of people don't. So Dean Phillips, it could be tough. I like where he's going. He won't run as an independent, so he's kind of out. But I'm still good. If he makes it to the Florida primary, I'm going to vote for him. I'm a registered Democrat in Florida. But anyway, so I was looking at the no labels thing, and I thought first it was kind of like, I don't know, no labels. That's going to hand the election to Trump, isn't it? Maybe not. Maybe not. Joe mentioned the senator from West Virginia is retiring or not going to run again, and he's had a couple real interesting interviews as of late. And of course, the no labels thing, if you don't know what it is basically people who want compromise. Basically, it's center lane. Matter of fact, if they'd like to use my name, if it's going to help this country, you guys can use center lane instead of no labels. No labels sounds kind of weird. Center lane sounds cool, right? So anyway, I would think it'd be interesting. So he was on a couple different news stations this past couple days talking about his thoughts about the country, and same kind of frustration a lot of us have is there's no compromise. Republicans are all evil. Democrats are all evil. Our ex-president said some really disturbing things actually this week about Democrats in one of his last speeches, where he kind of invoked Nazi Germany type language. I'm sorry, calling people venom or vermin. That's what Hitler used to call the Jews. And he used that in a speech. If you haven't seen it yet, it's not something you want to hear a president saying. He's very, everybody who doesn't agree with him or doesn't think he won the election is basically needs to be, I won't say exterminated, but they're not, he wouldn't be your president. At least doesn't appear to be the way he's talking. So that was really, really a disturbing speech. I don't know who came up with that because it looked like he was reading off a teleprompter, but that was a real poor choice of words. And I would think if I was a Jewish American, I'd be very concerned about Donald Trump if that's how he really feels. Now, Trump, everything is a nod and a wink. I get it. But I mean, some things you just can't overlook. You can't talk like that and say things like that about people, and not expect to get some, bad repercussions. I mean, you might not believe it. You're just saying it to get the red meat for your base, but you're going to get that one crazy person out there that's listening to that. He's going to want to kill all Jews, or the other side of the coin, when he's with his anti-Islam of a Muslim thing, or kill all Muslims. I mean, you can't have a guy who's that much power and influence over all these people to be saying things like that. So, anyways, that's kind of disturbing. So, going back to the no labels thing, I mean, a couple of interesting people. Joe mentioned, he even said that he would consider running, if it meant that they could save the country. I think he really meant that. I've heard some other names flown around. Actually, Mitt Romney, they're talking about a ticket with him being like the right and the center right and center left, and they come together, and that would be a ticket. How that would work, I don't know, because who's the president? Who's the vice president? We all know how much power the vice president has. Not much, but maybe that could change too. So there's some real interesting things to think about there. Like maybe it could be a different way of governing. I think we're ready for something new and something different. I think a lot of Americans are. None of us really want Biden because he's too old, and I think he's a smart guy, a good guy and all that, but just, the age thing is definitely an issue. And Trump is old too, and he's sounding, honestly, he gets a lot of passes where Biden said half the stuff that Trump did as far as just being forgetful, like forgetting what town he was in when he's giving a speech, or saying that he ran against Obama in 2016. He says there's slip of the tongues, but he'll say it again and again. That shows me that's more than just a slip. It's slipping all right, but it ain't just a tongue. He's losing up here a little bit. So that's another issue. Of course, Joe mentioned is 76. He's not young either. And talking about putting Lieberman in there, he's like 80. So, I mean, there's some older guys there, but I think the premise is interesting to me. So we still got a year to go. And, I think a lot of people are hungry for a change. It shows up in all the polls. It's just that, okay, I guess I got to vote for Biden or Trump. That's the only choice I have, and it's hard to get past that mentality. But if we can, maybe we can work our way through it. That'd be really great if we did. So, or at least gave it a shot and see what we come up with. Um, I want to talk a little bit more about Hamas in the Middle East. It's. I was just thinking a lot about obviously Hamas has to go. That what they did, they're freaking murdering butchers. There's nothing I can say good about them. But the thing I think everybody needs to be concerned about is what comes next because these it's generational. I mean, you take for example Gaza, 70% unemployment. I think half the population is under 18. 40% is illiterate. You know what that breeds? That breeds the next generation of terrorists. They're just one of the. I saw an interview with one of the persons that witnessed the that horrible October 7th, murdering spree that Hamas went on, and he was like shocked at how young a lot of those soldiers were, 14, 15 years old. See, we gotta you gotta think ahead a little bit. Yeah, if you squash Hamas now, and even if, most of the leaders of Hamas aren't even in Gaza, they're in another country. But laying low, transferring information, however the hell they do it. And they have a way. There's paths. Too many paths to we can probably understand. So we have to, in order to really to change this narrative over there, and this is not easy, I'm sure, but education, opportunities. Got to figure out a way, some way, man, because this is just going to keep happening. It's happened. It's been happening since the '60s, really. The uprising in the Middle East has never been right. Look at the countries around it. Look at Iran. Oh, we should go in and bomb Iran. People say, really? Okay. First off, there's a lot of innocent Iranian people there that hate their government, but take that out of the equation. What are you going to do once you get rid of the leaders of the government in Iran? Because look what happened in Iraq. We're still there. I mean, because once you get rid of the bad guy who's leading, you got to figure out somebody that's going to get a consensus in that country. That's really, really hard. So we just have to start thinking outside the box here a little bit, how to get this, and again, I don't wish I had answers for it because it's easy for me to bitch and complain about it. But just going in there and bombing everybody, I don't think that's going to fix it. I don't. There's just the network is too integrated throughout the whole world, and there's always going to be a way to come back. And we can talk about Afghanistan. We went there and after 9/11, rightfully so, to get rid of Osama bin Laden and all those guys. But once we got into it, it was really tough to get out, and the way we left was horrible, and people died. And just. But what really kind of stuck with me was we've been there for 20 years, and other than Kabul, the was basically a city state. We were there. That was strong. They had elections. The rest of the country was up for grabs the whole time we were there. We lost a lot of people. People weren't invested in democracy. There was 40 million people, I believe, that could vote there. And the last election they had before we left, only 1 million people voted. Only 1 million. That's 20 years. Would we lost 3,500 people, trillions of dollars, and it's kind of back where it started. Hopefully they won't harbor terrorists there anymore, but it's a big country, and there's a lot of subgroups that are, above and beyond. Look, even the people that bombed the airport when we were trying to get out of there those last couple horrible days, it wasn't the Taliban. It was the ISIS, a splintering of ISIS, another one of their groups who's fighting with the Taliban. And it just goes on and on, man. It's just really, really difficult, I see why sometimes people want to be isolationists, but at the end of the day, we have to lead, and we have to try to help figure this out. And I'm hoping you guys, I'm an old guy, I hope you younger guys come up with do a better job than we did. We tried, my generation, but the results weren't as what we were looking for. So, anywho, you look at Syria there. I mean, you got another neighbor. I mean, they just had killed 500,000 people in their last civil war, a 4 or 5 year period. And Assad even used poisonous gas and cluster bomb stuff on his own people. So that's the level they'll go to keep their power. So it's hard. I think it's hard for us as people from the Norte Americanos, the United States, to imagine what some of these countries' governments and the way they live are. We're so lucky that we have what we have, and we have to keep what we have. So in order to do that, we have to keep peace on the rest of the earth. I'm sorry, that's kind of falls in our lap. We have to be a part of that. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and build walls, because, those don't work so great either. On a positive note, let's talk about George Santos before I pass out. Before I not pass out. I'm trying to turn this off. Interesting that he got that ethics report, all the stuff he was spending money on. God, the guy, man, he's just a shyster from the word go. Even loaning his campaign $500,000. You never made that loan, but guess what? Once you make a loan, you get to pay yourself back, right? So he's giving himself payments to pay back the $500,000 he never paid. Getting Botox, going on vacations. Ripping off people's credit cards that are giving them money, stealing their identities. Holy mackerel, dude. So hopefully he will be gone. I know they're on break. Congress is now. They're coming back on the 28th. The first order of business is to get rid of him. He's got to go, man. And that's just embarrassing. There's been corrupt people in our government on both sides for a long time, and they've done worse things than him, really. If you want to talk about dollars and cents, they have. But he's just so blatant about it, and he got away with it. It's crazy. So anyways, George Santos, have a happy holiday. It's probably the last time we'll still hear from him, because even as notorious, he'll make money off being notorious, right? He'll have a book deal a year from now or a movie made from him. He's going to make money off this. It's the way we are. We can't help ourselves, right? Anyways, that's it for all. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you soon.